So I just wanted to, that I really, so you know, if we are in process now of Blind Faith, and we've had just time for everybody to reflect on Blind Faith. We've had the team, you know, reflect on Blind Faith. So this here is one of the reports, you know, from one of our team members, Faith. And yo, I just want to read it. And as a writer, you know, when I read this, I was like, wow, okay, we are telling a story here worth telling, you know, and seeing a reflection of an outside eye, you know, your reviews, your Motion, you've been part of this process from like for a long time, you know, Lisa's responses, you know, it's just been a constant, you know, revelation of, okay, there's a reason for telling the story, beyond the creator's point of view of, man, I want to create a story that we can tell as filmmakers so that we can join heads and tell a story, you know, where I think there becomes a point where the story shifts from you wanting to create a story and just tell a story for the passion of telling stories to a point where, wow, the story that we're telling actually invokes real emotions. It actually tells the story of real people that we really live with, you know. So he starts off, the film Blind Faith portrays the compelling story of Cindy, a young woman who experiences profound mental health challenges following the tragic loss of her parents in a car accident caused by a drunk driver. The script delves into Cindy's struggle with mental health complications, exhibited by her contentious relationship with an uncle who is fighting her for inheritance. As Cindy spirals into a world of alcohol and drug abuse to numb her pain, the narrative skillfully explores the themes of loneliness, facade of strength, and the allure of substance abuse for individuals grappling with mental health issues.
Ooh,
that's introduction.
That's the best synopsis I've heard so far. It's really put all together. It's really, really, really.
Man.
Yeah. She said it.
Put it together quite well.
Yeah.
Because also, like he was saying, he's an outsider. You remember Faith from the meeting?
Oh, that's yes. Faith. Okay, because I was just about to ask you, like, who is Faith? Okay, well, I've met Faith.
Yeah, okay. And even that day, how he co-signed everything because he's been through that. So it kind of like brought him back to where he once was. So I feel like now, fast forward to him being able to write a synopsis like this, it's brilliant. Like this. Yeah, it's brilliant.
I'm impressed. That's really nice. I like that.
It's like, I was like, wow. You know,
there's nothing else you can say after this. It's all put together tightly, and that's it.
So then he spoke about also loneliness amidst the crowd. I guess, you know, we'll probably center this dialogue around just this document because it talks about the story in a very, you know, summarized way where even somebody listening will hear what we are creating, you know, and what the story that we're trying to tell, you know, by November 2024. So he talks about loneliness amidst the crowd. The script effectively captures the character of loneliness in Cindy's life, showcasing her sense of isolation even in the midst of a bustling crowd. This poignant portrayal emphasizes the pervasive impact of mental health struggles, illustrating how individuals can feel profoundly alone despite being surrounded by people.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, like, maybe in your individual lives, maybe like on the up and downs of life, you know, when you perhaps on a decline, you know, I don't know if you could probably also relate to that, the sort of loneliness amidst the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, coming like from a country like South Africa, like and how it's structured, there are townships, you know, and you can kind of like see it and feel it in everyday people, you know, that's why everyone like during the weekend, like kind of like drinks, kind of like trying to distract themselves from like the actual reality, and then Monday you are facing a normal week again, but you literally can't wait for like Friday night. So you know, we've lost friends in that life, we've lost, you know, but when you actually talk to people deep down, you actually realize that even you yourself, you've went through it, but I guess people have found ways of like dealing with it, you know, and I can imagine now, since the story is about Cindy, who's like a girl in her early 20s, you can imagine now girls outside in their early 20s, you know, with the issues that, whether it be father issues or parents that are not there, it's a lot, it's a lot, and it, like Faith puts it together like quite well, like taking it to the script now, you know, and Cindy, because when you look at Cindy's life, she's someone with a vibe because she has money. She can have all the friends, she can have everyone, she can afford the lifestyle that other people would die for, you know.
Yeah.
But she's obviously still dealing with grief, you know, the pain of losing her parents in a very like tragic way.
Yeah.
You know, and that now leads to her, fast forward after everything, the burials, now the uncle, now it's sort of like everything that is happening is reminding you that you're alone. You know, the people that you could run to, whether you have like a problem with your friends, a problem with another family member, they're not there, so you have to now face this world like all alone, until obviously Tando shows up at her doorstep, and it kind of like shifts. Like now the whole situation that she's going through, and it kind of like puts it shines a positive light in her life. Yeah.
The loneliness, I find it that you don't find people who want to have a conversation, that particular conversation. That's the most difficult part. That's why when Tando shows up now, it breaks the ice, and even thinking of going to a therapist. And then I think the film also highlights on the importance of therapy, that you don't have to go through this alone. With help, you know, it kind of, you know, eases the path. But without that, then you're lonely. You're on your own. You're having a conversation on your own. You're having all these conversations in your head, instead of actually having and sharing with someone else. We actually can, and they can actually also be a mirror for you as well, you know.
But like, don't you think maybe, I mean, there's a certain fear that's there, you know, with, for example, going to a therapist, you know.
It's the stigma.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's like a matter of fear.
It's not fear.
It's also just something that it has become a luxury.
That too.
You know, like, you know.
What, the mental health,
the whole thing, you know, like, again, I remember in Cape Town, there's this other organization, so they would charge you like 50 Rand per session. And this lady's like, people reach out and still don't even come, some don't even make it, because they are even still shocked by the fact that you guys do it for 50 Rand, because people have paid like 1.5, like for a 1 hour session.
Yes.
2.5, you know, you're dealing or you are dealing with a busy therapist, you know. So it kind of like, and you know, in South Africa, 1.5 is a lot, you know, like
that's a lot of money.
You know, so now it started becoming something for people like in a kind of like different class, people that can like afford, you know. Whereas I feel like it's like you were saying, like you need therapy. I took the sessions in Cape Town. I'm like, what, 50 rand? And the people that, the therapists were even people that are still in training, you know. But the fact that you could have someone to talk to, you know, about certain things that you are like dealing with, you know, it helped a lot. And it's crazy that other people go on with their life without getting like that type of help or coming across an opportunity where you can sit down with a therapist. You know, someone who will be able to meet you halfway without judging you, without, you know. So even with Tan on the script, we see how that setups, like when he provided that setup to Cindy, already it felt like, yo, this is someone that I should have met long time ago, in a way, you know, because none of the friends that were surrounding Cindy at that time could suggest anything like that. Pamela, it's like, yo, Chomi, let's go, retail therapy, let's go drink, let's go do drugs, let's go, you know.
The self-destruction is all part of you know, trying to cope. The coping mechanism, as they call it. But also, I think it also highlights on our family structures, on how broken they are. Traditionally, I don't know how it is here in South Africa, but traditionally it used to be the therapists, you're going to find them within your family. You go to an aunt, you go to someone within the family. But now with this urbanization where we've all moved to the cities and all of that, there's no more village. It doesn't take a village to raise a child
sense of privacy too. Now you will have that information used against you.
That as well, because within the family structure, we all, it was a family issue. And there's always somebody who had a similar, you know, issue within the family. So within the family, they would know what to do. They know where it's coming from. Whereas if it's outside the family structure, that's when you start having the vindictive guys who can use it against you, all that, you know. So you cannot open up to anyone because you don't know what they can do with that information, you know, other than doing the professional way where you have to go to a therapist and there's where you know that there's privacy, that whatever you're going to reveal there stays there, you know, rather than within a setting of your friends, where your friends can use it against you, you know, especially friends, you know, and that's all comes from this urbanization of us living in the cities where it's all grinding and it's all about survival, you know.
And that's why it seems so easy that if a person actually has money, like Cindy has been left all of this inheritance, it's easy to assume that the grief has sort of really done its part and has left her system. Because, I mean, why are you grieving? Your parents have left you all of this thing that they used to provide you with, you know. So, because I mean, you know, you talk about family structure, you know, that perhaps the role of your parents being there is to be able to make sure that you eat, you sleep, you get all of these things that are basic human needs, right? So let's say if they're gone, right, it's so common in rural and township places where young boys and young girls have to grow up early, you know, because now they have to be the providers and all of that. But not to delve into that, but that whole mentality of your parents left you money, enough money, there's a house, you know, there's all of these things that your parents left you. So really there isn't a need for you to grieve because, you know, but with, I don't know, like...
Yeah, but I don't think that's the cause for her to be in the grieving state. It's more of the emotional support that she was getting, received from. That's what she's deprived of now, rather than the material things. Because comparing with her friend, she seems to be stable financially herself. So money is not an issue with her. So that's not the primary thing that is bothering her. But it is now this new dynamic situation she is where with the parents who probably were, which will be shown through the I think we said we're going to have some scenes, flashbacks where exactly we seeing those intimate moments, which will make the viewer understand as to why she's that way now. Exactly.
Because I'm just looking from Pamela's point of view.
Right.
There's a point where she says you're a woman with money and you shouldn't. There are no problems that you can't overcome because you have money. And often, when I just look and just observe, also in my life, and I just observe people around me who've lost parents, who still have parents, and all of that. I just see that, those that are still grieving and haven't accepted that they're grieving, the people that are surrounding them are people that think, but come on, man.
Right.
You have money. You left money.
Right.
So why? What are you missing? You know what I mean? And we fail to understand the pain of actually losing a parent.
Right.
Until it actually happens. And maybe you'll grieve worse than your sibling, or you'll grieve better than your sibling, but it does not mean that you're not grieving in some way or form. And I feel like it's these forms of grieving that society doesn't understand, and we tend to overshadow them. For example, like a Pamela, we made an example of Pamela here in the script, which they're not bad people. Pamela is not a bad person. She has her own things that she's dealing with. It's just that she doesn't understand because you have more money than all of us here. Why do you have problems?
Right. The way I view Pamela, for me, she's a city girl. The compassion and all those other things really are secondary for her. She's a manipulator, which is something that you find with a lot of people who live in the cities. Like, what can I get out of this guy? Even if it's your friend, and you still call them your friend.
They're city people.
Yeah, but the true friendship is tested when you're going through something like this. That's when you see who your real friends are. Because instead of comforting her and giving her what she and realizing what she's missing, not the money, not all of that. No, just an ear, just to sit like the guy who comes in. He's there. He's a shoulder to cry on, and that's what a friend should be, not just to be there to be taking, which is Pamela, which is what you find with a lot of people in the cities, because it's survival. Yeah, it's survival, and then there's the party thing, which is a coping mechanism for the stress that people go through their everyday life in the cities. The hustle and bustle that they have to go through. So by the end of the week, you are so worn out. For you to try and comfort even a friend or even yourself, that's secondary, man. That's just too far. Yeah, that's far-fetched. Yeah. So best thing is, let's go party. Let's go flush it out. Yeah, and then come Monday again, you're back in the same boat. Yeah. And you go through the same red race, and
it's
no progress.
Breaking you, because you can never have even financial stability.
No, it's the partying is draining your finances too. Yeah, so it's a never-ending story. Instead of fixing what the problem is, which Tando comes in, and that's what he does. Because of personal experience. That's the other difference between him and Pamela as well. Maybe Pamela, we don't know much about her background, but Tando, he says it, and he's in therapy, so he knows already. So that's why he's much more helpful to Cindy, rather than the other destructive friends who come in. Yeah. So
Man, yeah.
Yes.
It's incredible because, I think it speaks to the next point that it goes into here in the report of facade of strength and inner turmoil.
Right.
Perhaps that's also what attracts the city boys or the city girls. This facade of strength. But what's the outside when we see you? Damn, you wearing Gucci head to toe and you driving a Mercedes. We can see that you've got it.
Everything is good. Everything's going well for you, but deep inside it's empty. You're crying.
So when he talks about relating it to Cindy, Cindy's character is depicted as someone who tries to maintain a facade of strength while internally falling apart. This dichotomy highlights the internal struggle faced by those grappling with mental health issues, showcasing the discrepancy between outward appearance and inner turmoil, leading into substance abuse as an escape, which was something that we touched on. The script effectively conveys how alcohol and drugs become a seemingly easy escape for individuals undergoing mental health challenges. Through Cindy's downward spiral into substance abuse, the narrative underscores and the allure of self-medication as a coping mechanism for those experiencing profound emotional pain.
He nailed it right there. Yeah, because
probably speaks to the scarring of herself when she cuts herself.
And much more, I was talking about the facade and adding social media onto it. That just makes it even worse. And the scene in the car where Cindy, I think I wrote a comment saying that's out of character for her to be saying this. That's the facade right there. She's just putting it on. Like she's part of the girls, she's part of this, but yet deeply inside, her mind is not even there. But she's just going in with the crowd. And that's the biggest problem that we facing with social media, just to be part, to be seen.
Be part of the crowd.
But that social media doesn't show your true self of what you're going through and where you're at in life and what you're going through. It's probably where you want to be at in life. That's what it reflects, rather than where you really are. So I like the way he nailed that.
Because that it's amazing that you bring up something that happens within the story. It's similar to somebody who forgot who it was. I think it was one of the analysts from the KZN Film Commission who was talking about how when Cindy says, I'm gonna take these shoes,
right,
it was a thing of also it's out of character, and I think in the complexities, especially now also reading something written by somebody who is a survivor, and somebody who was not afraid to talk about his experience, with grappling with mental health issues. For me, when you talk about out of character, it questions so much more than just Cindy, and you start noticing these out of character things, because at the shop, before she hears Pamela's voice, she's in the grieving of her parents, and then it's Pamela's voice that brings her into this reality, and hence even when she's the one who says, when Pamela says those look cute, and they do, so I'm gonna take them. I don't really have to buy them, but I want to be so a part of this, and not also be in my, I don't want to always feel down. I don't want to always be in the dark, feeling sad. I don't want to feel like that all the time. So maybe if I do make this purchase, there will be something, that happens within me. It's the same as perhaps you just got paid and you just really feel like having that chili cheeseburger.
Right.
You don't need to get it.
No.
You bought groceries already. But there's just that thing that says, hey man, maybe if I just get
It's a feel-good thing.
Yeah, it's a feel-good thing. Like everybody
Right.
just wants to feel good sometimes, but that's a facade. If
Right.
you're really gonna interrogate it and look deeper into it, you're just wanting, maybe you even want to put up a facade for your mind. For
Right.
yourself, you want to
Yeah.
put up a facade for yourself. I don't know.
People do have those habits of shopping to feel better about themselves. If they're feeling down, they go shopping. Others, they eat. That's why we have a huge problem with obesity within our communities. And that's something that I think is so important for this film as well, that wherever I'm talking about just our own society, which I'm familiar with. When I'm saying our society, I'm talking about black people.
Yes.
Wherever you are, whether you are here, London, New York, wherever, they're all very similar issues that we all, battling with. And most of them are all related to mental illness. And this is something that's been passed on from generation to generation. And it's like a cycle. And we do need to break these cycles. And whether it's related to our past, and I think it is deeply related to our past, where we're coming from, whether it's colonization or slavery, it disturbed that family thing again. I was telling you about that, the nucleus, the strong bondage that we had within our families, that has been disrupted and disturbed, and we're trying to find our way again, and we don't know. And it's through films like this that's when we can actually have open conversations where we can say, oh, damn, I am Cindy. I know someone like Cindy. People can relate to it. And there we start a new conversations, we start a new narrative, towards mental illness. Because there's a huge stigma within our communities, like, oh, you crazy? She's crazy, man. Oh, that one is loaded. We exactly. That's it. The moment we do that, people forget about you. Like, oh man, they don't pay attention to you. And yet it affects all of us. It does. Same Cindy's mental illness affects Pamela. If she was in a better state, greater things would come out from them collectively, And the same thing if Pamela was giving his support, amazing things they can all do together, So when I was saying out of character for her, because she seems to be more stable, more educated, the background as well, the parents, caring parents, all of that. So that gave her that stability. That's why I was saying, like, why is she talking like this, saying, bitch, this? Is it to be part of the crowd? That's acting out of character for,
Also, I think like that whole thing of like belonging, being part of something, because now you just lost like pretty much like your family, and then now you have this issue with your uncle. So now it already gives you that whole thing that you don't have family anymore. The ones that are left with you, they want to see what can they shake out of the situation.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's also something that really hits hard, And when you have people like Pamela, they gaslight you, like yo, everything is good, like don't worry, let's just every day, and we can afford this lifestyle. And also you realize that Pamela knows a lot, maybe more than she should when it comes to Cindy. Even the pain, she's aware of the pain. But at the same time, she's enjoying all the fruits.
Yes.
She can buy me shoes, probably can get an Uber for me when I need help, like all those things. And like you were saying, it's that the city lifestyle is very toxic, and if your mind is not at the right place, like a Cindy in the script, then you become a victim.
That's the word right there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know.
We victimize people who are down already.
Yeah.
She is down and low, and her mind is not. Even though there's mental illness things going on around her, but she's not in a state where she can think logically for herself, and she needs all that support unit around her.
Yeah.
And that's where the friends.
Yeah.
You know, the friends
Yeah.
should come in, and friends matter and become like your family too. But then if your friends are like Pamela,
like
then
Pamela.
it's and we find a lot of them in our communities, in our societies, and it's a good thing that is being brought out.
And you know, the script really highlights it well, even this thing of family, even though it seems like it touches a bit on it, but it actually does touch base on like the family structures, because now you were saying like what happened to like our families. They used to be, you know, and I know one of the things that happened back in the day, they would take the fathers.
Yeah.
It's the man that would get arrested. It's the man that, you know, all those days. Like now you are shaking the family structure because the man is the pillar, you know, of the home. So now you look at all those things now. Again, it's a man that is terrorizing Usindi for inheritance.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, and then like now also she lost Utata, her father, and there's the part where she's wearing the t-shirt.
Yeah.
So you can tell that they actually had a relationship. So a pillar, like that accident took a pillar of her entire life, of her family, and then it took the mother, who's the heart of the home, you know. So she's having to deal with that, with probably people that don't even have those type of relationships with their families.
Yeah.
Exactly, they're not even aware.
So, you know, so they don't really like relate. They don't really relate, and some have been at the bottom so long that they think money is the only getaway. And again, we're dealing with social media that is saying, yes, it's exactly like that. But now, the other day, for example, I was watching a Will Smith interview, and he's talking about he was able to get everything he ever wanted. You know, and he was still dealing with real life problems. There were still things that go beyond, and they still leave her feeling like how he was feeling before all the money, glamour, and fame. You know, so I looked at that whole thing and I'm like, it's so crazy. We've seen and experienced a lot that even when I'm watching all of that, I'm like, yo, man, I didn't miss some money.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah, you know,
when we don't have it, we think it's the solution for everything.
So our Pamela exists deeply in that world. It's like, yo, man.
If I had that money,
I'll
be alright. I'll be
the money that you have, I wouldn't be feeling this way. She always had jobbers to get slid like Usindi into all these decisions, into all this, and then when she's trying to stand up for herself, it's like, fella, you going through ABCD, which you know exactly that it's not the right time and place to be using that against her, you know, but city life, man. City life.
Yeah, the grass is always looking greener on the other side, you know. But in actual fact, it's green where it's watered.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be on the other side.
Yeah.
That's all. If you nurture it,
That's a
then
powerful one.
then you'll be all right.
Grass is green where it's watered.
Yeah.
And also you look at, again, like really there is, I think I saw the point there where mental health and wealth and mental health.
Yeah, that's the next point.
There is like a really a great misconception, because you know, when you talk to a lot of like rich people or people that like are wealthy, you find how much they like to look after their minds, how they care about the minds of their kids, what they expose their kids. You know, all these things that have to do with just keeping your head clear and being able to focus and achieve things. And then I go back to even just where I'm from, or talking to people that I meet at these bottom parts of the city, and you just realize that it's like that part doesn't really matter. It's like, yo, my brother, I need A, B, C, and then I'm good. And then we also the ones that are all over social media, you know, all these things that come across as distractions at a later stage, you know.
You need technology which we don't understand. That's the way I see it. Social media, as much as we can demonize it, but it can also be part of a solution for. When you look at the Middle East, the Arab Spring rise, it was done through Facebook. They changed governments in Egypt, changed Tunisia, they changed. That was all done through social media. But when the way we use it, we love jokes, gossip, all those little things. Why don't you have these platforms where you have similar guys who are also suffering from mental illness sharing their experiences? I'm sure it would help, and I'm sure they won't feel as lonely and as you know.
I think still it's that mental glitch of like wealth, that whole misconception, you know, because for a lot of guys, for example, like if you look at like the Arab guys, and you can actually see like their development and that they actually want to contribute and take over the world, like whether it's football, whether it's the cities that they're developing, and you know that the greatest platform to get people right now, like you can post one thing and it reaches the whole country, you know, and it's like what you're saying, the social media. And I mean, even now in South Africa, for example, they're campaigning for voting. One of the funny things that happened is that there were a lot of reactions of young kids saying they're going to vote because there was a famous influencer that posted that, yo, guys, go vote. And then people were shocked, like seeing kids react to that girl's post, like, yo, since you said it, I'm gonna go vote. You know, I'm gonna. So like, it actually just shows you like that where people are. Like politicians have been preaching, they've been trying to do campaigns. People are like, and then an influencer that gets her money on social media was like, yo guys, you go out and vote ABCD, our country, and then an instant reaction, you know. So like, just to back up what you're saying, and again, I feel like if you look at a Cindy situation, it's really just that one leg in her life where she's just surrounded by the wrong crowd, you know, and that wrong crowd also now exists heavily in a social media space, because when Pamela goes live, she is forcing her to say something.
To say something, go on, friend, say something.
Exactly. You know, it makes you question your friends, the people you keep around you. I think when you're going through things like this, and it really makes you question, like, okay, who is Pamela in my life? You know, what is she doing in my life? You know, because friendship, it should be about give and take, not about just take, which is what we're seeing in Pamela. I don't see any scenes where she's giving. Really.
And you know what?
She's just taking.
And in reality, there are people like that.
Oh yeah.
You know. And
more people like that than the yes,
you know,
definitely,
and I feel, you know, that's the beauty of the script, you know. It just highlights real life, you know, and I think that's what we try to do when we tell stories and when we're doing movies. We actually just telling real life, and perhaps sometimes it's to forget that I'm writing a film or whatever, but you're telling a story, a real life story here. That, hey man, there's just a person in your life who's toxic, and they never make a character arc. They just never, you know, up until you decide to detach from them, and that's your character arc. You know. And That's just what it is. Like I think what was one of our conversations.
Yeah.
We were talking about Grotowski
Yes.
and the Verfundums effect. You know, the effect of alienating an audience, and I think you know what we are going to use and what is put on in the script. You know, it's something that is the next topic here, which is flashback and realities of mental health. You know, I think artistically, you know, using flashbacks and visions is a way to sort of remind the audience that this is a story that you're watching that's reflecting real life. So don't be too invested in the story and not want to impact the things that are happening in real life that you're seeing in the story. You know, and I think that's what Grotowski was always trying to do, you know, when he breaks out into song during an intense scene, to remind the audience that what you finding intense here is actually as real as intense in real life, you know. So don't be too invested in what that character should have done, what that character should have done.
Right.
What can you do? What should you have done in a situation that looks like that? You know, and I think, you know, when we get into flashbacks, and we do have flashbacks in reality, but we don't see them.
No.
You know, so he says here, the script adeptly addresses the issue of flashbacks, portraying them as vivid and distressing experiences for individuals grappling with mental health challenges. This portrayal emphasizes the real and often haunting nature of flashbacks for those affected by mental health conditions. You know, those moments where it's like, maybe I could have done something. You know, maybe I could have done something like this, and perhaps watching the film could be a flashback for a person in the audience.
Right.
You know, watching something that actually happened in their real life, and they seeing what they could have done actually. You know.
Yeah. For me, also what it's doing, it's breaking the ice. It's about time we start talking about this, you know, about mental illness. I wonder, I wish we could come up with a different name rather than just say mental illness, because that one is soiled already. When you say mental illness, people are like, oh, you know, it's not the most comfortable thing they want to talk about, or anything cheerful. Exactly, yeah. So, but it's so needed, so badly needed. And I've also said, okay, an individual can suffer from mental illness. Can a society collectively suffer from? Because basically, when you mental illness, it's dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional in a way within your, you know. But can we also say a society, a whole society is really dysfunctional?
Because a mental health condition is not chronic.
Right.
Like, it's stress that makes you go drink a bottle.
Right.
That's a mental health condition.
Exactly.
The fact that you cannot manage your stress without an alcohol bottle is a mental health condition.
Right.
You know, anger.
Yeah, an individual can have mental illness. Okay,
And
let's say you have
society.
mental illness, and then you reside in a community where it's highly dysfunctional. How are you gonna be, you know, get better? You might get better as an individual, but then you're ushered back into that, and then you have, which is the relationship that she has with Pamela. That's dysfunctional. You as an individual, I mean, evidently, you can tell that she's not well because of what she's just gone through. And then those around you, they want to pull.
Also dysfunction.
Exactly.
Don't you also think that it's again like people not being like well informed when it comes to like mental illness? So when you go, Pamela is even like a victim of ignorance.
Oh yeah,
You know, because to her, how I'm saying it, she's not even realizing how deep it is.
Right.
You know, and for Tando, Tando gets to even see her jump off the bridge, which is Tando got to even experience the reality of it. Whereas Pamela was like, go jump off a bridge. So it shows that, you know, like it's also like why we need to have these conversations for real, because other people don't even know what the fuck is going on. Like when it comes to like people just like, yo, I'm not okay. And you know, also people are used to now having 9 to 5s. There's a lot of places that they, even if you're not well, for these hours, I need you to condition yourself to do the job so that I can pay you month end. So now I feel like we've kind of like been trained to box a lot of these things so that we can function every day and do what we need to do, to a point where other people forget that exists. Like a person can, you know, because you know when someone maybe at work loses a parent, it will be like, yo, we can give you a week off, but next week you need to come back. You know,
exactly.
And you need to be fully functional. You need to take the overtimes, but back home you are raising a kid, like you know. So I feel like a Pamela could have been raised in an environment like that, where it's like everything is just flowing, never even got to really spend time with their parents, you know. And then now when you meet friends like Cindy, you don't feel like there's much to learn outside of just, yo, we are having fun. We gang. We just, our relationship is tied like this. So it's crazy, and I feel like it will definitely start a beautiful conversation. And also I feel like a lot of films that I've watched, like thriller stuff I've watched, when it comes to mental illness, they tend to focus on males a lot. I know there's some that I've watched, you know, with females that are beautiful, but I feel like on the South African context, I feel like it will be very interesting, because I know that a lot of our females are going through it. You know, and they have to wake up and go to work every day. You know, they have to be functional, and then they still have to entertain relationships. There's a lot that's going on. So now someone is gonna get to sit down and actually watch, like you were saying, like, yo, maybe I'm Cindy, I'm Pamela, I'm, you know, everyone now is gonna watch that. If you feel like you need help, then again, the film shows you where there is a solution there as well.
That's the thing with film and filmmaking and all of this. You know, my network used to say, actually, it's where life imitates art. You know, people watch the movies, and what they like when we were growing up, we used to watch Bruce Lee. You step out of there, you're Bruce Lee. You are chopping each other outside. You know, and that's how we learn. That's how we learn. It's either it opens us up or So we need that. That's why I was saying, like, this is an icebreaker. Open up the chapters, you know, on mental illness within our communities. We've been sweeping them under the rags for too long, and it's that huge elephant in our living room. Everybody sees it and everybody knows it, you know, and it's part of healing, not as the individual, but as society. When we start openly talking about this, you know, and those who suffer from it won't shy away from coming out and saying it and expressing it, rather than just closing yourself in a room, you know, in a dark place and thinking that it will go away. No, it will only dissipate through talking. We have to have these conversations.
And now we have to, and I think that's the reason why we are doing this film. You know, it's been what? 4 weeks now, 4 weeks into, our first production meeting for pre-production was on the 11th of March. You know, and now we are in the next month, you know, so it's been a good month of pre-production, you know, just basically stepping into the world and all of that. And I think it's really important for the community and just for people to join in on this movement and want to see this film, you know, be shown, because it's a truly South African story, but it's a global,
It's a universal story.
It's a universal
Oh, yeah,
story,
definitely,
you
yeah.
know, and we've got a dedicated team, and I think, you know, when the film premieres, you know, the hard work that's gone in, you know, since 2021, you know, when the concept first came alive, you know, February 2021.
For me, this is the most pre-prepped short film I've ever been. A lot of work has gone into it, a lot of thinking, and a lot, which is great. You know.
We just have to show the world what South African artists are capable of, us as filmmakers.
No, it's there. The amount of talent here is amazing.
You know.
It's amazing.
You know.
Yeah.
And we want to make them believe that a short story can really create a social change. And yeah, thank you guys so much, man, for this amazing conversation.
Thank you,
until
man.
the
Thank
next
you for
one.
involving us. Thank you for getting me to sit down here.
Chop it up.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Greater
amazing.
things are coming. You know.
Greater things are coming.
Definitely. Yes.
Blind Fait.